Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the virtual Stafford Motor Speedway. It is a beautiful day out here, and I hope you are safe and healthy right now. I am Jeff McConey up in the booth, alongside Bonsa Tufa, Sean Ambrose, and Dougie Beard as our production crew tonight. It is going to be a great race here. We have 100 laps, but before we get to that, we have to finish out practice, then we go into a 5-minute qualifying session, followed by 3 heats and a consolation race. There will be plenty of cars in the field. There will be plenty of action out there. Bonza, are you ready for this tonight?
I'm excited, and I think a lot of us are excited, Jeff. You know, these are weird times that we're living in right now. Really weird times, unfortunate times where we can't really go out and enjoy the sounds of the race cars, to go out there and watch them go at it for, 40, 50 laps. So it's just nice for Paul Root and the gang to come up with this and work together to have this 100-lap event on Stafford Speedway. It may not be the same as real life, but you know what? It's better than nothing.
Real racing will be resuming soon at Stafford Motor Speedway, and Stafford Motor Speedway is a very special track. Let's go to this week's track preview and tell you a little bit about Stafford and what it's all.
Need for a different type of horsepower, horse racing, and then automobile racing took over after that. This place is not as flashy or fancy as the half miles that the Cup cars go to today, but this busy oval can still put on a fantastic show full of action for the fans and intense competition for the drivers. Uniquely banked, it poses a challenge for all comers. Turns 1 and 2 are banked at 9 degrees, where turns 3 and 4 are banked a little less at 7 degrees. The apron here at Stafford is known for being very wide but flat. Only the bravest of drivers with the utmost grip can make passes down there. Short tracks equal close racing and usually leads to shorter tempers. Keeping calm at Stafford rewards the drivers. It's like the old racing expression, to finish first, you must first finish. Corner exit tends to be the most challenging place on the track, where the fast lane sweeps right out of the corners towards that wall that awaits you. Stafford is an old, worn-out surface, so managing the tires is also key to finding victory lane here. All in all, Stafford poses a fun challenge to drivers, and it's always sure to put on a great show. So settle in, buckle up, it's bound to be a great race.
Stafford Motor Speedway is a 1/2-mile track located in Stafford Springs, Connecticut, in the beautiful United States of America. It's an oval, but it's unlike any other oval. Like I mentioned, it's half a mile, and you would think the banking would be the same on both sides, but you would be incorrect. Turns 1 and 2 have 9 degrees of banking versus the flat inside of turns 3 and 4 with only 7.5 degrees. There's also a big wide apron, as was talked about in that track preview, that anyone can use, but there's not a lot of grip down there. If you want to go in there, you're going to have to push someone up a little bit and make some contact with the fenders there if you want to make the pass. Expect that a lot in these modifieds. These Nerf bars get used a lot, and there might be some hurt feelings.
Now, looking at the details of the race, this is kind of like how it normally is at Stafford on the Friday night. Now, the feature race is 100 laps. They're running the SK modifieds. We're going to have 3 heat races. And out of those 3 heats, the top 7 from each heat race will advance to the feature. And then you got the 2 Consi races after that. And hopefully we'll get a full field between 20 to 30 drivers. The main event will be 100 laps. Each driver will have 2 fast repairs, meaning that if you have a damaged race car, you can go into the pits and get your car fixed good as new in an instant. Hence why it's called a fast repair. But there's only 2, and those can go by really quickly. In the end, though, 100 laps, green-white checkers are in play. There's 3 green-white checkers for the race. Jeff, a lot of excitement, and there's some worry that there could be a little bit of survival when it comes to how you approach the race.
You are absolutely right, and actually there aren't any green-white checkers for this race, so these drivers don't have a chance to go out. There is 1 minute left until qualifying here. The qualifying will set the lineups for the heat races. Nobody will race their way in from qualifying. The top, like Bonsa said, the top 7 from each heat will automatically advance. That would send about 40 drivers home. Now, we're not going to send that many home, so the consolation races is where the rest of the guys can try and make the field. We're going to have plenty of chances to make the event, but there will be cars going home at the end of the night. Nobody is safe, and we could see some big hitters, Mike Christopher Jr., Bryan Narducci, Teddy Hodgdon, Troy Tallman. All of these guys could have major issues, and if they wreck in a heat race, they're out. There are no cautions for these heat races. Whatever happens, happens. Now let's go over to qualifying. They'll have 5 minutes and 2 laps only. Typically, their first lap is the fastest, and that is the one they want to set down a good time.
Now, qualifying is going to be really critical. A lot of people believe that track position is going to be paramount in this race, not just because it might be a little bit hard to pass with the fixed setups and everyone running equal cars, but also just to avoid the wrecks. Because if you see a wreck, it's going to probably happen mid-pack and back. So if you start in the front 2-3 rows, especially for the heat race, you might just want to settle in and run that 3rd, 4th, 5th position because you know you're going to be safe. And by the way, you say everyone's going home, but isn't everybody home already?
You got me there. Everyone is racing from home. We actually have one of our sponsors over at Spark VR. Their chief technical officer is in this race, and he is going to be part of it, but we will discuss that more. This is a fixed setup, as mentioned earlier, so everyone is running the exact same setup here. Nobody has an advantage in equipment. Nobody has any sort of advantage whatsoever. This is all about the drivers and who can put themselves in the best position. We see 2 drivers have already taken times, Dylan Kopec, George Bessette Jr., but more are popping up on the board at every second. The top time right now is a 19:2:28 by both Dylan, Izzo, and Devin O'Connell. They ran the exact same time. Keep an eye, though, on Teddy Hodgdon. He was practicing hot laps all week, and he has been fast in them. He's been top of the charts in most of our practices.
I tell you what, yesterday when they had the practice session, he was running lap times in the mid-18-second bracket. That is flying, and it got faster as the track settled in more. Right now, though, they're running low 1900s. You got Dylan Izzo running 19.228. As you mentioned, him and O'Connell tied at a 2.28. Mike Christopher Jr. running a 19.240. This field is really tight. The top 10 is within a tenth of each other, and that's what we've noticed. The whole field is spread out by no more than half a second. So it adds to the excitement because you know that there's such parity in the field and there's a lot of people who can contend for the win, kind of like how it is in real life with the SK mods.
Sammy Anderson's car has gone behind the wall. She is no longer in this session, unfortunately. She can try and join back in, but she will be at the rear end of the field for her heat race, and that's going to be extremely difficult to come back from. Mikey Flynn laid down a 19.298. He is the last person to run under 19.3. Our slowest time, though, is a 19.644 by Mark Alkas. And I say slowest time, he's only 4/10 off the leader. That's next to nothing. Everyone is running extremely competitive here. Only a couple thousandths difference between the top 5.
That's the luxury of having these equal setups. Each driver has a chance to show off their skill and how they drive this setup. Each person has their preference. Maybe you want to dive into the apron. Maybe you want to enter a little bit higher up the track and cut down and dime the corner off. There's different preferences that drivers have depending on the situation they're in during the race. Now, Teddy Hodgdon just broke the 19.1 second barrier. He ran 19.181, and as we mentioned, he's one of the guys to watch. He's been really good at posting that fast lap, and he was pretty good during the practice race yesterday as well.
There's just 2 minutes left in qualifying. Teddy Hodgdon is up at the top. Most guys have taken their time already, though. They only get 2 laps. You really only get 1 chance to go out and run it. Sal Acardi is currently on track. He is running hard out there, but my goodness, these guys are all close together. There are 2 guys in this field that are very, very experienced iRacers, though. Mike Christopher Jr. and Bryan Narducci. They are both sitting in the top 10 right now. Top 6, actually. Bryan Narducci and Mike Christopher Jr., they were 1st and 2nd overall in the world for Tour Modified points last season. So they are coming in with a high head of steam. They are both drivers here at Stafford in real life. If you watch them on Friday nights, you know they're both aggressive, and you always have to keep an eye on them. It's going to be the same here tonight. They're starting near the front for their heat races, but if they get wrecked in those races, they could go home.
Yeah, there's no margin of error. It's not like you can sit on some points or anything. If you get involved in a crash with no cautions in this 10-lap heat race, that's it. You got to rely on the consi to get in, and that's not going to be any more easier because there's a lot of other cars that'll be looking to get in through the consi. So there's not really any margin for error. That's why you wonder, if you're in the top 3, do you try to race each other and try to take the lead in the heat race, or do you just settle in and take it easy? Because is the risk worth the reward in a heat race?
When this many people going home, I think we're going to see the top 3 play it safe, but 4th on back, they are going to be fighting like crazy. They have to make sure they make this race because you can still advance from the Conti, but it's a whole lot more difficult at that point. You don't want to be in a position where you have to race your way in. You'd much rather be where you win your heat race, you do well in your heat race, you finish top 7, and you move forward. There's just a couple seconds left here in qualifying. Everyone's that's going to take their lap has taken their lap. There's some people, Cory Casagrande, Peter Bennett, that are sitting a little bit back, and they're going to start from the rear and have to race their way forward. That's a bold strategy. You only have 10 laps in your heat race. That's it. And there's no caution.
It's not a lot of time. And you got guys like Jon Puleo who's starting mid-pack. So they'll be in that hot spot where you got to hold on for dear life. But going back to what you talked about, Mike Christopher Jr. and Bryan Narducci, these two go way back to the karting days. They raced each other in the Wild Thing karts. Mike Christopher Jr. has been racing the SK mods for the last few years, and now Bryan Narducci's making his way up. So these two not only have competed in the karts, they've competed against each other on iRacing. Now this upcoming season, they're going to be competing against each other in the SK mods in real life.
Let's go through the order here. For heat number 1, only the top 7 advance. There's 18 cars here. On the pole with a time of 19.181 is Teddy Hodgdon, the number 55 machine. The Montanari Fuel, he drives that car in real life. That is a picture-perfect recreation of his car. In the number 82 is Mike Christopher Jr. with a 19.240, starting 3rd on the inside line. In 3rd place, Chase Dowling. Jacob Perry takes spot number 4. Phil Jacques in 5th. Matt Vassar, the Slim Reaper, in 6th. Joey Muchacario in 7th. He is the cutoff spot right now. Nicholas Salva in 8th. Max Zackham 9th. Doug Messervy 10th. In 11th, you have Matt Galko. Dan Butler is 12th. David Arute, who drives the number 75 in real life, is 13th. Chris Ciriello is 14th. Tony Membrino, 15th. Trace Beyer was the last person to take a time in qualifying with a 19.570, starts 16th. Peter Bennett is 17th, a Legends car, really dominant, has multiple championships in the Legends car. Cory Casagrande will be racing in our Super Late Model Open coming up May 29th. He is starting 18th.
Tell you what, guys like Cory Casagrande and Tony Membrino, they got their work cut out for them big time. Tony Membrino competes in SK Modifieds. You got Cory Casagrande making his return. They want to get in, and they're going to start at the back. They got a lot of work to do if they want to get to that top 7. At that point, do you wonder if you take it as hard as you can, or you lay back and try to avoid any wreck that can happen since there's no cautions, and that'll give you some easy positions?
Bonds, my friend, that is a gamble, but the pace car ducks off. Teddy Hodgdon controls the field here. Chase Dowling on his back bumper. The green flag doesn't have to come out, but it does. Teddy Hodgdon jumps. Mike Christopher Jr. matches him pace for pace. Chase Dowling doesn't keep up. Mike Christopher Jr. is going to make the outside work, but he's going to get pinched up by...
Teddy Hodgdon's been really good at starts, and he showed that on Friday or last night in the practice race. He has the lead right now. Mike Christopher holds in 2nd spot. The battle's for 3rd. Chase Dowling does have that over Jacob Perry. Running in 5th is Phil Jacques. You got Matt Vassar side by side with Joey Mooch. That's the 6th and 7th spot. And right behind them, you got Phil Jacques. And, oh, there's contact!
The late car goes around. There are no cautions. The 40 makes his way back on track. There are no cautions. The 8 car has gone around.
So Vassar holds the 7th position. Messervy holds the 8th spot. That is the spot. That is the cutoff to lock yourself into the feature race. Mike Christopher Jr. just ran the fastest lap, a 19.202. These guys are running faster than what they qualified, and they're only going to get faster.
Makes a big move to the inside, shoves the 33 of Dan Butler out of the way, who gets into the 59. The 44, he needs to gain a couple positions here. He needs to get past Matt Vassar in order to make it to the event. They are on lap 4 of 10. Only 7 guys will advance. Tony Membrino, we have an in-car view. He's taking it all the way. The left sides are on the apron. He's driving everything he can. He's giving it all that he's got. He doesn't have any time to waste out here, so you'll see him put those left sides on the apron. He'll be hammering the gas. You see him turn it a bit to the right there. He's driving that car for everything it's got.
Looking up towards the front, Teddy Hodgdon is running in the lead right now with 5 laps to go. The car length is just 1 car length. That's the gap between him and Mike Christopher Jr. Those are the 2 of the favorites. for this race. Chase Dowling is a little bit behind. He's 7/10 behind the leaders in third. Jacob Perry doing a good job running in fourth. But
The
question is
77
that
goes around in turn 3. Yes, it's a 42. The Slim Reaper gets through. The 67 gets through. Doug Meservy and the 40 all get through. But it's a pile up towards the back. Chris Siriello has blown his head.
Now Max Zachem has the 7th spot, so he's in the cutoff spot. Cory Casagrande is running in the 8th position. There's only 3 laps to go. There's a car upside down in turn 4, but that doesn't matter. Casagrande is over a second, though, behind Zachem to try and lock himself into the feature through the heat race. David Root is right behind Cory as well, just 3/10 behind with 2.5 laps to go. Looking up front, Teddy Hodgdon still leads by about 2/10 over Mike Christopher Jr. The question is, though, who's going to get locked in?
It looks like Max Zachem has it, but Cory Casagrande's gaining. He's about 1/10 a lap quicker. That's not enough. He needs something big to happen here with only 2 laps remaining in this feature. Teddy Hodgson has the lead locked down. I don't think Mike Christopher Jr. wants to win this race. He wants to win the feature, but he can't do that if he goes and wrecks for the lead in the heat.
Well, here we are, the white flag now in the first heat race for the Stafford 100. Teddy Hodgson leads. The top 4, they're in pretty good shape. They don't have to go that hard. Mike Christopher Jr. is still staying within a couple tenths behind Hodgdon. So Teddy will come out of turn 4. It's going to be Teddy Hodgson winning the first heat race. Mike Christopher Jr. second. Chase Dowling third. Jacob Perry fourth. Matt Vassar in fifth. Meservy sixth. Max Zachem seventh. And running in the 8th spot, I believe, was Cory Casagrande. So he will not make it. He's 1 spot away, but he's going to try and lock himself in the Consi that's coming up later. But in the end, Teddy Hodgson, no surprise, Jeff, was really dominant.
He was fast, but he definitely has a bad habit of using up all of his tires, and he will openly admit to it. So he has to be careful and manage his tires. Heat number 2 is starting. On the pole, we have Dylan Izzo with Andrew Molleur on his outside. Troy Talman, who's always quick in that number 2 car, starts third. Mikey Flynn is fourth. Matt Swanson will start off 5th in this race with Robert Sturck on his outside. Ryan Fern, driver of the number 12 late model, the bright yellow, neon yellow car that you see every week at Stafford, is on the inside of Kyle Elwood. Timmy Solomito will start 9th. Starting in 10th is number 99, Pete Thickett. Tyler Leary, driver of the 1X modified and late model, starts 11th. Daltin McCarthy is 12th. Joey Ternulo, 13th. Justin Bren in the 66 is 14th. Michael Hopkins in the 78 is 15th. Marvin Minkler is 16th. And that will be our field. Sammy Anderson, unfortunately, did not make it here tonight, so she will not make this heat race. She could still make the Conti if she's able to get back to this session, but right now it's not looking like that's possible. Back up to the front, Dylan Izzo, Andrew Molleur. You can see him off the back of the pace car in that amazing graphic. We have 10 laps to sort this out here. Everyone wants a piece of it. Sitting in the cutoff spot is a very aggressive driver that everyone knows his name, Ryan Fern. His uncle Tom is not in here. Cousin Tom Fern is not in the race here tonight, but Ryan Fern will try and continue the Fern. I guess you could say it's a habit of theirs to win everything.
Oh yeah,
it's really impressive what they do. But Ryan is a very aggressive driver, as we all know, and certainly races with everything he has. There's a lot of passion in everything he does. He's a fantastic driver, and he leaves everything out on track. Mikey Flynn had a very, very rough season last year. If it wasn't bad luck, it was no luck at all for that team. They blew motors. They got caught in wrecks. There was one race where he was leading and then ultimately caught up in a wreck in turn 3 of the last lap, coming to his first career win. Most teams at that point would pack it up and say, all right, we're calling it the season. That's it. Not this team. They said, you know what? We're going to go bigger. They're going to jump to the SK Modifieds next season. And coming off the track is the pace car. The 04 Dylan Izzo leads them around. He controls this start.
Now we've seen that inside line be the lane of choice. And we got trouble in the back already. One car spun out. I believe that's Peter Thickett in the back of the pack spinning into the grass. But there's no caution, so we just got to keep on going. Good jump for Izzo.
Mikey Flynn is loose. He goes around. He's up in the air. That car, there's a lot of cars involved. The 78, the 33. That is a big, big incident. Like I said, with that team, if it's no luck, if it's not bad luck, it's no luck.
Michael Hopkins, Kyle Elwood are also involved. There's a bit of a stack up in turn 4, including Robert Sturck. Marvin Minkler, I believe, was involved in that, but we continue on green. Izzo is leading right now. Troy Talman in second. Molleur running in third. They're all nose to tail. Matt Swanson, the modified tour driver, running in the fourth spot. Ryan Furness fifth. Timmy Solomito running in sixth. You got Joey Ternulo running in seventh. And Justin Bren is in eighth, but he's a half a second behind Ternulo with 8 laps to go, and that's the cutoff spot. The 18 car has it. Bren wants it, and he has no pressure from behind. Bren does, because Minkler is a good couple seconds back. So looking at the front, the top 5
Here goes
is
the
nose to
18.
tail.
The 18's going around all by himself. Justin Bren is in the cutoff spot now.
Oh man, that was a big mistake by Ternulo. He was in the top 7. Now he's going to fall all the way back, and he has no time to recover. So now the 7th spot goes to Justin Bren. He has a 2.3 second gap over Marvin Minkler. That's plenty of gap for him. He can just take it easy the rest of the way, as we have 6 laps to go here in the second heat.
Robert Sturck was side by side with the 71. He's in 8th, and he's trying to work his way in. His last lap was a 19.6. Justin Bren in the cutoff spot was a 19.33. So Justin Bren is a bit quicker, but Sturck was battling for position. Now that he's in clean air, he might have a chance. He's got 5 laps to chase down that car in front of him. Tyler Leary is in the pits. He's out of this race. P2 is who we're looking at. Up there is Troy Talman. He's making the moves around Andrew Molleur. He does not slow down. He wants this win. Dylan Izzo is going to have a whole mirror full of that number 2 car, Troy Talman.
Dylan Izzo is someone to watch, though. He's one of those guys you don't hear a lot in SK Modified Division at Stafford in real life, but he has been fast these last couple of days, and he's showing it right now, leading by 0.4 of a second. And he's holding that gap decently, but Troy Talman is not giving up. There's 3 laps to go, and he's closing in slightly over Izzo. But watch that 04 car, because we know he's going to be one to watch for the feature coming up later, as long as he holds that top 7 spot.
A 19.331 for Troy Talman, a 19.339 for Dylan Izzo. Troy Talman is 0.08 of a second quicker per lap. That's not quite enough to cut down that distance. Dylan Izzo actually pulled away a little bit there over Talman. Andrew Molleur is sitting there in 3rd. They don't need to win this thing. They just need to be top 7. Justin Bren is pulling away from Robert Sturck in that 52 car. Robert Sturck is in the 52. And he's holding on to 7th place. He's just cruising right now for these last couple laps. 1 to go here at the line. 2 to go at the line.
Yeah, Bren's got a 3 second gap, 4 seconds back to the leader. Sturck is 7 seconds back. So a lot of room to work with for Bren. He doesn't need to overdrive that car. And for poor Joey Ternulo, he was in that cutoff spot and lost it off of turn 4. But here they come to the line. Dylan Izzo is going to take the second heat. Troy Talman takes 2nd, Molleur 3rd. Matt Swanson 4th, Ryan Furnan 5th, Timmy Solomito 6th, and Justin Bren 7th. Those are the 7 that are going to advance to the feature, while the rest of the field will have to try and get in through the Consi.
8th through 16th will have to go and race their way in. That's Robert Sturck. Daltin McCarthy is in there as well. But we will jump over to Heat 3. The grid for that one, Devin O'Connell is on the pole with Bryan Narducci, who's known to roll the outside here at Stafford. Interesting to see now that he's on the same setup as everyone else. Nobody really has that advantage on the outside. He sets his car up to roll the outside line at Stafford. Now everyone's running the same stuff. That 48 Narducci is 2nd. Travis Hydar, the number 11 street stock driver, with 1 win last season, starts 3rd. Tim Jordan in 4th. Glen Reen, owner of Reen Acres, that patch of grass over by turn 1. Probably one of the more aggressive drivers out here, as we all have seen in the past. He is the epitome of wreckers or checkers. Glen Reen, with a man who's got track championships that cover his whole wall at his shop. Keith Rocco in 6th. Jon Puleo in 7th. Joseph Cipriano is in 8th. Dylan Kopec, driver of the M6 Tour Modified, starts 9th. Marc Burke is 10th. Sal Acardi starts 11th in that number 28 car. Joseph Eiler is 12th. George Bessette Jr., making the jump from street stocks to SK Lights next season, starts 13th. RJ Surdell is 14th. Shawn Monahan 15th. Mark Alkas is starting 16th. John Ambrose will not be taking time in this. That is our timing and scoring. He is doing a great job helping us out up here. Moving out to the front of the field, they are rolling now. This is a pretty stacked field. Anytime you get Bryan Narducci, Travis Hydar, Glen Reen, Keith Rocco, Dylan Kopec, a lot of these big names, George Bessette Jr., all out on the same track. They are aggressive. They are fast. It's going to be an absolute fight to the finish here. I can't guarantee anyone will make it. Any of those guys, they all could go home because they all race so darn hard.
I gotta tell you, one person you gotta keep an eye on this heat, though, is Tim Jordan, starting in the 4th spot. That 47 car has shown a lot of speed so far, not just in the practice yesterday, but they had another test session on Wednesday, and he was running top 3 lap times consistently. That 47 car is someone to watch for. That 3rd row, too, because Glen Reen and Keith Rocco are right next to each other. Who knows how that's going to go. Now, Glen Reen does have a lot of experience on iRacing. He was pretty fast. We'll see how aggressive he is, though, because he's in that top 7 as we're coming down to the green flag.
If you watch the Sid's View show, the show of Stafford Motor Speedway, it was a fantastic series. Devin O'Connell is having some connection issues. Back up to the front, though, he gets a good jump over Bryan Narducci, who's going to have to try and find his way to the bottom. O'Connell gets a bit tight. Glen Reen goes around. There's a whole pile up on the inside.
Yeah, Glen Reen got turned by Puleo, I believe. So they keep going. That's going to hurt them big time, though. Looking back up to the front, Devin O'Connell has the lead, but he's got pressure from behind with Bryan Narducci, as you mentioned, one of the faster guys in the mods. He runs in 2nd, back in 3rd, Tim Jordan. And in 4th, you got Travis Hydar. Hydar, he's been pretty good, too, but he just spun off turn 2, so he's in the infield grass. We keep going. There's more contact. Turn 3, Kopec hard into the wall. They're all wrecking in turn 3. More cars spinning around. Marc Burke has gone around. Several cars have wrecked in the last lap. Devin O'Connell still leads. This is going to cause a mad scramble for that 7th spot because of how many cars have gone around.
George Bessette Jr. is up to 6th. The cutoff spot is RJ Surdell. Glen Reen, who spun at the beginning, is in 8th. He could still make it in easily. We're on lap 3, coming to lap 4 right now. He just to make up a couple times. We are in the cockpit of Glen Reen. You see that distance in front of him. You see how it gets a lot smaller? That is Glen Reen working his magic right there. He doesn't want to end up in Reen Acres down in turn 1. He's going to drive the wheels off of that car. Look at the speed in the bottom right of your screen, though. Getting up to 110 miles an hour, that is unmatched.
He's reeling in RJ Surdell, too, so he could make that pass. He's faster right now. He's gained a 10th a lap, it seems like. It was a 7/10 of a second gap. Now it's under half a second. He's still got Puleo about a second behind him. It's crazy. Puleo is the one that got into Reen as Reen got a little bit sideways there in 3 and 4. He has a chance here to get himself locked in as you're riding on board right now with RJ Surdell.
RJ Surdell has a mirror full of Glen Reen, who's cut that gap down to next to nothing. Sitting in 5th is Sal Acardi. He's moved up. Keith Rocco is also locked in 4th right now. Glen Reen, he's not afraid to use that bumper. He does a nice tap. A 3-tap rule we're expecting to see here in honor of Ted Christopher. The first tap is, I'm here. The second tap is move. The third tap is, I'm moving you. As we see a dive bomb going into turn 3, Glen Reen all the way on the apron. I warned you about those Nerf bars. They're going to be used. Surdell gives him room. That's the cutoff spot, and Glen Reen has it going into turn 1. Surdell is not going to go down without a fight. Just a couple more laps here.
Puleo really wants him to keep battling so he can get up there and catch up to those two. Surdell's not giving up, though. Oh, turn 4. Devin O'Connell gets sideways, battling Narducci for the lead. He saves it, though, but Narducci does grab the top spot. Tim Jordan now is right on the back bumper of Devin O'Connell. Those two were side by side, and the leader, O'Connell, was on the inside off of 4. That car snapped around, but somehow he got it straightened out as they're coming down to the white flag. There's one more lap to go here in the heat race.
Devin O'Connell is having some connection issues, and that's what's really messing with them right now. Bryan Narducci says, I'm going to go around, forget it. I'll win this thing and lock myself in. You have 7 guys that are trying to, you have plenty of guys that are trying to do that, but only 7 will get it done. Glen Reen is sitting in that spot, and he's pulling away from RJ Surdell by he's about 7/10 ahead right now. George Bessette Jr. sits 6th. He's safe right at the moment. He's got about 2 seconds over Glen Reen. Sal Acardi in 5th. Keith Rocco in 4th. He's trying to catch. Tim Jordan was trying to catch Tim Jordan. He finishes 3rd. Devin O'Connell 2nd. And Bryan Narducci comes in 1st. Those are your guys that are locked in for the feature event and do not have to run the Consi.
Well done by Reen. He spun on the first lap and comes back to get himself locked in anyway. Man, it was a great battle for the lead, too, between Devin O'Connell and Bryan Narducci. There's a bit of worry with O'Connell. He was blinking there a little bit with his internet connection, but they were nose to tail for most of that race. Narducci went to the outside of O'Connell. We talked about Narducci being able to run that outside line, and it worked, and he was able to get that win. Now it's time for the Consi.
13 people are in this race. It's going to be interesting here. A lot of big names. You see Cory Casagrande in there. You see RJ Surdell, Trace Beyer. There's a lot of guys that didn't make it in that we were expecting to see. Only a few are going to advance. So 4 from each Conti are now going to advance to the race.
Now,
That
you
is
gotta
what
keep
we
an
are
eye.
seeing from timing and scoring, that 4 will now advance for each race.
Got to keep an eye on Travis Hydar. He has been showing speed during these practice sessions, but he unfortunately spun out in turn 2 during his heat race. He's going to be starting in the 8th position, so he's out of it right now. Can he gain those 4 positions? Because the circumstances are the same in terms of laps and cautions. 10 laps, no cautions. So if you wreck, you're out, unless, like we saw in the last heat, a lot of them wreck.
Now, our timing and scoring for this race is a little bit off, so we're calling this race by sight right now. It's going to be certainly interesting here. We see Trace Beyer is out on track in that 29 car. Cory Casagrande is going to be on the pole. We have the 4 car, that is Daltin McCarthy. The 99 as well is out there. A lot of guys, Mikey Flynn, who wrecked in his feature. A little bit of contact to the back bumper of that 7 car from the 4 as these guys are lining up. Everyone is anxious to go and excited to get rolling here for this consolation race. These guys, this is their last chance. If they don't make it to the feature event here, this is it. They go home, and that's the end of their night, and they can watch from the stands, maybe grab a beer at the Double Hook.
Watch from the stands, huh?
Watch from the stands, if they're so inclined, but these guys, there's a lot of them going home. We're going to have 30 in the main.
Now, you got to watch Daltin McCarthy in the 3rd spot. Kart graduate making his debut in the street stocks this upcoming season. We'll see what he's got. He's one of the young guns that's coming up. Let's see if he can make a showing now as the green flag comes out for the Conti. And what a jumper Casagrande. Surdell did not go.
RJ
So the inside
Surdell
lane
is
gets
asleep
the
at the
big
wheel
jump.
and gets a shot to the back bumper from Trace Beyer in retaliation. The 99 goes around. That is the end of their night back there. A lot of cars involved in that wreck. 3 wide going into turn 3. Joey Mooch on the bottom of the 58. The 19 is going to try and follow. Everyone is fighting for every position. Travis Hydar needs to gain a couple of spots. The top 7 advanced in the last heat race, but in this, the Conti only 4.
Poor RJ Surdell started 2nd, went back to 7th in just a lap. So Casagrande is pulling away. He's in a good spot. McCarthy doing a good job in position number 2. That battle for 4th, though. Phil Jacques, he feels like he can get in. He's got to face off against Kyle Elwood, though.
He goes around. The 33 sends him. Trace Beyer goes around. It is a parking lot. Oh,
Surdell's upside down.
Leary fights his way through. He is now. Let's find how many cars as timing and scoring tries to catch up. The 3 cars are out front by a $10 Uber ride, one could say. But up to
whoa, look out! Backstretch!
Cutoff. A big wreck. Oh my god.
That was the lead of the race. Surdell was upside down the backstretch and he just stood there. He had nowhere to go. And the leaders ran into him. McCarthy's going to have the lead. Burke is going to be in 2nd. Leary's in 3rd. And Hydar is now up to 4th. And Casagrande goes from 1st to 6th. And there's 5 laps to go.
Daltin McCarthy now holds the lead and he is a mile in front. In 2nd place, Marc Burke. In 3rd, Tyler Leary fighting with Travis Hydar. Neither of those guys need to wreck the other. If I'm Tyler Leary and I have, it looks like he might have some engine damage even, he just needs to cruise at this point, not get intimidated by Travis Hydar behind him. Just let them race. Hydar dives to the bottom. You'll see him on the inside there, moves Leary up the track a little bit. All they're racing for is a better starting spot in the race. It's either, they're starting close to last because they're racing their way in the Conti, but it doesn't matter. They'll have 100 laps to fight their way up through the field. In 5th right now, Elwood is back on track.
Yeah, but he's multiple laps down right now. He's 2 laps down to be exact. And for Hydar and Leary, you don't have to race hard. You guys are in. So just Leary did the right thing, let Hydar by, and just settle for that last spot in the consolation race to get in. If you're McCarthy and Burke, just take it easy. Take a stroll. But I know sometimes race car drivers, they don't really know how to take a stroll. They like to go 100% every time. But Daltin McCarthy, the kart graduate making his street stock debut this season, is 2 laps away from getting the win in this Conti and moving up. He's got a sizable gap over 2nd place Marc Burke. And Cipriano, He's right behind Burke, but he's multiple laps down. Right now, the top 5 are on the lead lap. The 5th place car is Butler, but he is way behind right now.
Dan Butler is 1 lap down as long as nothing crazy happens here on this final lap, which we can't rule that out with this race. My goodness, they are coming to the line. Your top 4, Daltin McCarthy, Marc Burke, Travis Hydar, and the final person advancing from this Conti is Tyler Leary.
My goodness. It seems like every race the intensity picks up. It's just gotten crazier and crazier. And you got to feel for Cory Casagrande. He had a huge lead. And off of turn 2, RJ Surdell's upside down modified was just in the middle of the track. Casagrande had nowhere to go, slammed right into him. And as a result, Cory goes from winning the Conti to being out of the NAPA iRacing 100. Unreal.
We have a lot of great racing with a few less wrecked race cars at the actual Stafford Motor Speedway. Thank you so much to our sponsors for NAPA, especially. They will be sponsoring our Spring Sizzler. It has been moved to May 30th and May 31st, so you still can go out and see 13 races over 3 days. And we're going to be working at the track, and we're not going to be sleeping, Bonta. Not at all.
Oh my God, it's going to be awesome.
Opening night has been moved to Friday, May 22nd. That's going to be all 5 divisions. We also have a special discount going for $40. You pay $40 now, and you get a $50 gift card on the Stafford website. It's available tonight only. So head on to our website, get yourself a nice gift card, $50 worth of stuff for only $40. I'm no mathematician, but that sounds to me like a good deal.
Does sound like a good deal, I have to admit. But now we're going back to the track. They're 1 lap away from starting the second Conti. You got Robert Sturck in the first spot. You got David Arute in second. In third, you got Peter Bennett. In fourth, or Jon Puleo, pardon me. You got Minkler in fourth. Then you got Peter Bennett in fifth. In sixth spot, you have Joseph Eilert. You got Joey Ternulo right behind him in seventh. Nick Salva in eighth. Monahan in ninth. Michael Hopkins in 10th. Chris Ciriello's up back there. Mark Alkas, followed by Mikey Flynn, Tony Membrino. As we get underway for the final Conti, the top 4 advance. Here we go.
David Arute is going to let that 52 go so that he can get to the inside as well. He doesn't need to win. He just needs to be top 4. Best way to do that is to just get in line. That 57 car, Jon Puleo, is sitting right back there in third. Crazy racing behind, though. Everyone wants one of these top 4 spots. Right now, Peter Bennett, Legends car extraordinaire, is up to 4th and holds the cutoff position, but the 18 and 71 make contact. They all keep it straight, and they're 3 wide coming out of turn 2.
Yeah, Minkler went wide off of turn 4 and lost that 4th spot, the transfer spot, and then got knocked up the track by Ternulo, who was in the transfer spot in his heat race until he spun off of 4. We got more trouble back at the pack. Minkler's upside down.
The 46 checked up in front of him, and Mikey Flynn got into the back of him. He's running 8th right now, needs 4 more spots to advance. Needs to get past Nick Salva, Joey Ternulo, and Joseph Eilert, as well as Peter Bennett, to get a top 4 spot. I think he needs a little bit of magic, though, because that is a long way back.
Right now, Sturck is the leader. David Arute running in second. They're nose to tail in the top 4. Jon Puleo third, Peter Bennett fourth. Eilert a half a second behind Bennett for that 5th spot. As you're riding on board the leader, Sturck, as he comes off of board. There's going to be 6 laps to go left in this Conti race. Right now, Bennett's in a good spot. He's got a cushion in between him and the 5th place spot. Joey Ternulo drives in deep into turn 1 behind Eilert, but he lost ground off of turn 2. This is going to come down between Bennett and Eilert as long as nothing else crazy happens like in the first consolation race.
We certainly can't rule out anything crazy. Joseph Eilert, he is the co-founder over at Spark VR, the chief technical officer as well. He's driving the wheels off of that car, and he is in a position where he feels like he's actually driving a race car. So if you want to actually feel that, Spark VR, they'll give you a VR headset, let you go and tear it up at Stafford Motor Speedway. He could try and tear his way up in the feature race. Needs to be top 4 to do it, though.
Oh, Ternulo!
He's holding on to it.
Salva. Ternulo spins Salva, and that's going to move him up to the 6th spot. Flynn is up to 7th, but Ternulo is a second behind Eilert. There's Salva's car in turn 2. He gets it going.
Mikey
no cautions
Flynn.
anyway.
An aggressive move to get around Joey Ternullo. You want the fastest car on track? How about a 19.262 for Mikey Flynn? He is hauling the mail, and he's 2 positions away from making it in. 2 laps, though. When they cross the line, there's not much that can be done in that little of an amount of time. But if anyone can do it, Mikey Flynn is hoping it's him. He needs to race his way into this feature.
We're talking about big surprise that may not make it to this race. Mikey Flynn is one of the fastest cars during the practice session. He's got a lot of experience on iRacing, but he's got a long ways to go, about 2.5 seconds behind Bennett. As the top 4 take the white flag for the consolation race, they stay nose to tail. Nobody's trying to make a move. You don't need to. So the top 4, they're in a good spot. Eilert is starting to lose ground to Bennett. That gap now is almost a second. Mikey Flynn's not going to have enough time. He's not going to make the consolation race. Sturk is going to take the checker flag in the first spot. David Arut does a nice job in second. Jon Puleo third. And Peter Bennett advances in the last spot, 4th position. Wow.
That was absolutely crazy. Now, the math shows 29 will make the feature right now. We have it shown with timing and scoring that 4 will advance. We will wait and see on what iRacing sets as the grid, because we have it set so 30 cars will make it. So the 5th place in one of the heats could make it, depending on if iRacing will give it to them. We are waiting and watching, just like all 1,000 of you are. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you to our sponsors, NAPA, Dunleavy Truck and Trailer, Mid-State Site Development, The Call Before You Dig 811 Line, Lincoln Technical Institute, Spark Virtual Reality, Maybury Material Handling. Also, if you like our sponsors, you like Stafford, you like everything racing, go ahead. There's 2 podcasts that you have to listen to if you want to stay informed. That is the Bottled Up Podcast and the Bottom Shop Podcast. Bonsa, do you want to tell us a little bit more about the Bottom Shop Podcast, sir?
I tell you what, we've had great episodes. These guys are doing the 5-minute warm-up before the feature, by the way. The Bottom Shop Podcast, we've had 7 episodes so far, ranging from Keith Rocco to Rick Fuller. You got Jerry Pearl, Mike Christopher Sr., Doug Colby. We even have Lisa Arut. Lisa Arut did a podcast with us right before all this coronavirus outbreak happened, and it was a wonderful time with Lisa. She got a chance to talk to Paul Arut. Good 45-minute conversation, a different perspective hearing it from Lisa and how she got into racing. You know, it's different from how most people get into racing. They're really fun to listen to. They're a great way to kill an hour and a half of your time. I highly recommend it. It's always fun to listen to it live, but even listening to the videos a couple weeks later, it doesn't cease to get old. It never ceases to put a smile on your face. So it's really cool hearing these stories from people who've been in the racing business for a very long time, and just to see what it was like back in the 70s for some, 80s, 90s, up to the 2000s, and how much has evolved in the sport of auto racing during that time. So I recommend it. Stafford Speedway's YouTube channel, where you're watching right now, we have 7 episodes of the Bottom Shop Podcast. Hopefully in the future we'll get some more going, but check out those first 7 episodes, because each one is a can't.
The Bottled Up Podcast as well. It is your latest and greatest in NASCAR news, driver and crew member interviews, and more. We cover iRacing. We cover everything else. It's with host Jeff McConey. Hey, that's me. I host guys all the time. Anthony Alfredo, Christian Eckes. You might know some other names. Derek Cope, 1990 Daytona 500 champion. How about legendary crew chief and Hall of Famer Ray Evernham? We have all of that on the show. Go ahead and give that a listen if you are so inclined. We're going to be covering this racing tonight on tomorrow morning's episode of the Bottled Up Podcast. It will be up by the time you wake up and get your morning coffee. We are checking in on the chat as well over here on YouTube. Hello to everyone out there, all 1,100 people watching. Thank you for spending your Friday night with us, just like you would at the track, and I hope to see you all at the track. May 22nd is our opening night with the Spring Sizzler move to May 30th and May 31st. Keep that in mind. But checking out the chat here, I see a TB12 chants are starting to get going. How about TC13, guys? This is Stafford. This is short track racing. 2 minutes left in this warm-up. Let's hear it from everyone. Tell your friends. Ted Christopher 13 in the chat. That's what I want to see.
One more shout out we want to give is, although Phil Jakes did not make the race, he was part of a group that made a wonderful reality series behind the scenes of Stafford Motor Speedway. It's called The Show, and you can watch on the Vault Productions YouTube channel. It was Sid DiMaggio, you got Nicola Rose, Sean Foster, you got the Gleason brothers, and you got Bill Jakes. They all work together to make several episodes looking at the perspective of Ronnie Williams, Keith Rocco, Glen Reen, Mike Christopher Jr. You briefly mentioned it earlier, but these are wonderful episodes. It really takes you behind the scenes of what goes on in the paddock, what goes on setting up the cars, what goes on in the minds of the drivers when they look back on maybe the mistakes they made or how they got the win. Because every week in SK Modified, something dramatic happens, and it's always exciting to watch. And it's really nice for the drivers to give us their perspective of what their thought process was. What were they thinking? Why they made the move they did? So with less than a minute to go in this warm-up session before the feature race, gotta give a quick shout out to Sid's Vault Productions. Check out the YouTube channel Vault Productions for the Stafford series. It's called The Show because this is the show.
The best show you can possibly get. I'll tell you what, ticket prices are pretty darn low, and you can also get a garage pass. You'll get the same access that you and I both have, Bonza. Anyone can get that access, walking around, talking to drivers. You don't have to work for the track to be down in the garage, looking at what these guys are doing. It's really amazing to see everyone in there working on their own cars. It's so competitive. Everyone loves to be there and compete with each other. We have just a couple seconds left in practice here. Then, in just this warm-up, then we grid up for the feature event. 100 laps. Let's take another look at our broadcast crew here tonight. I'm Jeff McConey. We have Bonza Tufa as well, at Bonza_T on Twitter. I'm at Bottled Up Radio. Sean Ambrose is our director, and Dougie Beard is helping us out on cameras. It is a great crew that we all came together. I'm so happy with this production so far, but we are gridding up now for the feature event.
Let's look at the starting grid for this race. Looking at the first 5 rows, you got Teddy Hodgdon starting in the first spot, Dylan Izzo in second, Devin O'Connell third, Mike Christopher Jr. in fourth, Andrew Molleur will start in the fifth spot, Bryan Narducci, the SK Modified rookie, starts in sixth, Chase Dowling will start in seventh, Troy Talman will be in the eighth spot, Travis Hydar, returning to the street stocks, will start in ninth, and Jacob Perry, who had a recent appearance at Stafford in the late model, will start in the 10th position.
Starting in row 6 on the inside, 11th is Mikey Flynn.
Made it.
Starting in 12th, he did make it. Tim Jordan, 13th, Bill Jacques, 14th, Matt Swanson, 15th, Glen Reen, 16th, the Slim Reaper, Matt Bassett, driving the number 11 Hummel Hot Dogs. Man, I'll tell you what, I'm hungry for one right now. Starting in row 9, 17th, Robert Sturck, 18th is Keith Rocco, 19th, Joey Muchicaro, 20th, Ryan Fern.
Looking back to the rest of the field, Jon Puleo starts in the 21st spot, Nick Salva 22nd, Kyle Elwood 23rd, Joseph Cipriano 24th, Max Zackham in 25th, Timmy Solomito starts in 26th, Dylan Kopec in 27th, Doug Messervy in 28th spot, Pete Fickett in 29th, and Marc Burke in the 30th spot. 30-car field?
It's looking like it. I'm not seeing Mikey Flynn on track. I'm wondering if everything is correct with timing and scoring. So we are organizing that, but I can tell you what, Teddy Hodgdon is certainly in first. Dylan is certainly in second, so it sure looks like it.
Tell you what, track position is going to be huge. Some people think it's going to be a matter of survival. Who can avoid the crashes? You got a full field of SK Modifieds, and I tell you what, this might be virtually the show, but nonetheless, it's the show. You got 28 SK Modifieds for 100 laps. Teddy Hodgdon will lead him down to the green flag. The NAPA iRacing 100 is on.
Teddy Hodgdon with a good jump on the start. He will get a good lead going on to the inside there. Dylan Izzo falls into line in second, Narducci in third. We did have the correct timing and scoring lineup. Some of those guys thought they didn't make it and ultimately packed the trailer and went home, unfortunately. But the guys that are here to race.
Trouble, turn 4, Ryan Fern spins around. Ryan Fern spins in turn 4. He goes into the infield grass, and the yellow comes out. We made it a lap, but Ryan Fern looks like he made contact with somebody and spun it around into the grass. Looks like he didn't get any damage, though.
Let's take a look at that replay once we get it queued up here on the broadcast, and we can see exactly what happened. We are in no rush to find it. We have some time as we take a look. The beautiful GSRC logo over the top. Ryan Fern on the outside line. coming out of turn 2.
Now watch in front of him. Jake Kopec gets knocked wide of the track in turn 3. I don't know if that's the result of a chain reaction here, but you see Perry get knocked up the track. Looks like Fern and Vassar got together off of turn 4. I can't tell if Fern came down or Vassar came up, but it looks like they just converged.
Matt,
on board of Fern.
We are looking at it from Fern's perspective. Matt and Vassar put all 4 tires on that apron, and we warned you earlier, just not a lot of grip down there. They were also 3 wide with the car on the outside. No damage to that 12 car, just takes it for a spin, and he will come down. Maybe he'll get 4 fresh tires, depending on the strategy. Now, these guys can come down and pit for tires whenever they want. They will change all 4 at a time with just, they don't need to take any fuel, though. They have enough fuel to make it to the end, so theoretically, someone could stay out and run the entire race on the same tires. It will wear out. This is an old track surface, so what that will do is it eats up the tires. It's like Atlanta. It's like some of these tracks that have never, really been kind to tires, I guess is the best way to put it.
Eats tires up.
Eat them up, right. This is a rough, abrasive track. The setup they're running, though, over the course of 60 laps, we did extensive testing on it. It only dropped about 2/10. So if someone comes and gets 2 tires, they could still be aggressive. Keith Rocco was the only one to come down and pit, though. Everyone else stays out.
Now, luckily for Fern, it was a simple, lazy, harmless spin, so he doesn't have to use his reset. They have 2 resets. But for Fern, even though it's lap 1, luckily he didn't have to use his resets, so he can use those later on just in case the intensity picks up. But one thing you got to keep an eye on with Teddy Hodgdon, he has been really good at restarts. He knows how to get the jump because the way it works, it's not like there's a restart box like at Stafford Motor Speedway in real life. Once the pace car pulls off, you can go. And Teddy Hodgdon has done a great job in the practice race and tonight in getting that jump on that inside line. What they do, the inside line is about a half a lane, maybe a groove off the bottom, and then Hodgdon just cuts the corner off of 4 to gain a quick couple car lanes over, in this case, Dylan Izzo, who's running in 2nd spot. So keep an eye on Teddy Hodgdon and his restarts because they have been really good. And mind you, caution laps do count in this race. They do count, so it's not like Stafford in real life where the caution laps don't count for their 40-lap features. Caution laps will count for tonight's race.
I will tell you what, if you just heard tires screeching and a car firing up hastily in the parking lot, that was Mikey Flynn. He's returned to the racetrack. He's going to be a couple laps down. He's not out of it, though. He gets a couple cautions. He gets some lucky dogs or wave arounds. He will be back in contention here at the end if it works out for him. But the pace car is going to dive in. We get a good look at the field here. Teddy Hodgdon controls the start. He's going up to the outside line, giving Izzo a bit of a hard time. Narducci pushing on him, and they have a dead even restart with a Hodgdon up with Izzo. Izzo goes around a wreck at the front of the field. Everyone dives low to avoid the wreck up high. I see George Bessette goes around afterwards. Doesn't look like anyone took much damage there. So
we got a pile up on the front stretch too. They crashed in the front straightaway as well. Ryan Fern, David Arute, Travis Hydar, Jon Puleo, Max Zackham, and Robert Sturck. Sturck's going to need a reset. His car is smoking heavily. So there were two sets in the front of the field in turn 1, and then on the front straightaway in the mid-pack. Now you look at the replay, this was after the first wreck had happened. And one thing you got to mention, Izzo had a really good restart in that 2nd spot. There's what happened on the front straightaway. It looks like some cars just got sideways off the corner and just all stacked up from there.
You are exactly right, and you might see under caution here, you might see some guys slowing down. They'll slow down, let a couple car lengths in front of them go. And what they're doing there is they're testing their RPMs. If they put the clutch in on iRacing and look down at their tachometer, it'll show if they're right on the money. It should be about 1,200 RPM in these cars. If it's anything lower than that, they know their engine's damaged and they're down on power. They can come down and fix the car automatically 2 times this race per driver. Each driver can come down and fix the car completely 2 times. They don't want to accidentally use those though and waste them. That would kill their run if they were to get into another wreck.
Now that restart was interesting because Teddy actually held the field down a bit there on the restart. He kind of proved me wrong. So what he did there was he kind of waited. He didn't go immediately, and that stacked up the field a decent bit. And Izzo in the 2nd spot had the jump. So they were pretty even going into turn 1, but unfortunately Izzo ended up getting spun out. But I was very impressed at how the outside line held up during that.
Unfortunately, we have just been reported that there are some issues with Mikey Flynn's car. The flux capacitor has gone out on it. It is back behind the wall, and he is taking it back home to put in a new flux capacitor for next week. He accidentally drove 89 miles an hour and it blew it. So, unfortunate. The gearing was not correct on the flux capacitor. 89 miles an hour. Whole thing blew up. Mikey Flynn will be back next week, unfortunately. Taking a look over at chat, everyone is having a good time. Dylan Kopec is now watching from the stands, as we mentioned. Some of these guys, I'm interested to see the driver's perspective and what they're thinking, what they're seeing, and now watching from the sidelines what they see. Fastest lap, though, looks like George Bessette. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is, per timing and scoring.
Now, a couple people have been on the move, and that one of them is George Bessette Jr., but Sal Acardi's also moving up a bit there. So, looking at the front of the field here, the front of the field is the place to be, because we've seen the chaos that has happened already, but even then, they almost got together on the front row, and that caused the pileup. So, is it really a safe spot to be? Who knows? But right now, we're getting close to the green flag. We're on lap 14 out of 100. There's still 87 laps to go. There'll be 86 when they come back for the green flag. Teddy Hodgdon is the leader. Running in second spot is Bryan Narducci. Mike Christopher Jr. in third. Troy Talman in fourth. You got Devin O'Connell, Chase Dowling, Andrew Molleur. Izzo losing several spots after that get-together in turn 1. You got Timmy Jordan in the top 10 and Matt Swanson.
I see a lot of people over in chat are excited for Teddy Hodgdon. He's leading the field. He's got Narducci on his outside and Mike Christopher Jr. on the inside. Two amazing competitors. Narducci gets a jump on the outside, but he's got to let Hodgdon get to the line first. They are looking 3 wide and think better of it going into turn 1. Hodgdon has the advantage. Christopher Jr. side by side with Talman. Narducci, a hard dive to the inside. He's going to have the run going into turn 3. Let's see if Hodgdon gives it to him and races him hard. They make a little contact. Hodgdon holds on. And they are going to try and single back out here on the front. Troy Talman in fourth. Mike Christopher Jr., big dive to the bottom. All out of shape. Same with Talman.
Oh, we got trouble back of the pack. Got trouble in the back of the pack. Looked like a couple cars got together and won. Matt Baster's one of them. Tyler Leary's another. They are resting up against a safer barrier in turns 1 and 2. They get together again as they just try to drive away from the field. That's going to bring out another caution. Baster and Leary now start getting going again. It looked like that happened around mid-pack. Narducci made an incredible crossover move on Hodgdon, though. He was up high in turn 1, diamond the corner, cut off at turn 2, and got underneath Hodgdon. We know Narducci is going to be a contender for this race. Now, he's gotten the lead from Hodgdon after a really good restart on that outside line. I was looking at the replay, what happened. Looks like Baster and Jacob Perry might have gotten together. Glen Reen got a piece of that, Justin Bren, and Tyler Leary had nowhere to go. This is on the cockpit of Glen Reen. Double restarts. They're racing hard. They're trying to get as many positions as possible because track position is so vital. And from his perspective, there's nowhere to go. It just happens so fast as he piles in there. We'll see how much damage he has, but that was a pretty good lick he took.
One downside to these modifieds here on iRacing is that they are exactly like the real cars, and I say that's a downside because your visibility is very limited. And when you saw that in race, that in cockpit view for Glen Reen, as if you're sitting there driving the car, you couldn't see anything, unfortunately, and he just got caught up in that wreck. New leader though, Bryan Narducci had the lead at the caution. Teddy Hodgdon in second, Mike Christopher Jr. in third. One major difference here is that at Stafford we do the lineup based on the last lap completed. In this race on iRacing, it's the moment the caution comes out. So in real life, if let's say Narducci is a nose ahead of Hodgdon or even a full car length ahead of Hodgdon on the backstretch when Hodgdon led the last lap, Narducci would be second place at the real Stafford and Hodgdon would remain in first because he was the leader at the last lap. On iRacing, if that were the case, Narducci would be the leader, as we're seeing here. Another big issue for these cars is the pillar right in the center of that windshield. You can see it there on Mike Christopher Jr.'s car, that black bar that splits the windshield in half right above the engine there. You can see it, the air intake. Man, that is a big bar. You see it there in the in-car view. You see the pool noodle up at the top there. That obstructs his view a bit. But that pillar on the right side and that gigantic hood just blocks your view, and it's hard to see who's on your outside.
And as a result, you're going to have a lot of close quarters racing. Looking at the top 5, you got Bryan Narducci, who just took the lead from Teddy Hodgdon, who runs in 2nd. Mike Christopher Jr. is in 3rd. Troy Talman 4th. That top 4, not really a surprise who you expect to be in the top 4. Talman has shown a lot of speed, both in the test session Wednesday and the practice yesterday. Andrew Molleur runs in the 6th spot. He's behind Devin O'Connell. Matt Swanson is right behind Molleur. He runs in 7th. You got Dylan Izzo, Tim Jordan, and Jacob Perry doing a solid job running in the 10th spot. Justin Bren was just involved in that pilot, but says he's running in the 11th position. He started 20th, so he's one of the bigger movers so far in this race as we're getting set for the green flag. Let's see how Narducci's going to do this restart. Will he get the jump on the bottom line, or will he wait?
Narducci has to be the first one to cross the line. Keep that in mind, and he will certainly get that easily as Mike Christopher Jr. is giving him the chrome horn all the way down the backstretch. Now, Christopher Jr. looks like he's a little tight there, looking pretty wide. Troy Talman does on the bottom. Mike Christopher Jr. might have a run going into turn 3 on Teddy Hodgdon. No need to be too aggressive yet here, boys. We are still on lap 22 of 100.
Mike Christopher files into the 3rd spot. Troy Talman right behind in 4th. Devin O'Connell 5th. The first side-by-side battles between Dylan Izzo and Andrew Molleur. That is for the 6th spot. Justin Bren looks like he's got some engine damage. He pulled off the pace. He's at the back of the pack. Looking up front, though, they're all nose to tail at the front. The top 5 are all together. No one's pulling away with these fixed setups. Everyone running equal, and you got highly skilled driver in that top 5 right now. As Hodgdon is right on the bumper of Narducci. You're riding with the leader, Bryan, right now. As most of the field right now is single file, trying to settle in and get some green flag laps in.
Oh,
look out!
Around off the front bumper of Troy Talman. That's a lot of damage.
We got mess. Glen Reen's involved.
Timmy Solomito
looks like Dylan Izzo. Tyler Lyric involved in another one. Troy Talman's involved. I think Messer V's in that. A couple cars in the back just stopped. Trying to avoid that, right? They did a good job of stopping. And just when I said they were settling in, I can't tell if Christopher Jr. slid up the track and Talman got underneath. They were battling for the 3rd spot. We're looking at the replay right now.
Here. Troy Talman certainly gave the chrome horn there on that one. Just hard, aggressive racing, cars up in the air. It's a good thing that these guys don't own these cars, because that would be a big bill at the end of the day. Something I'm sure Doug Dunleavy would be happy about for the truck and trailer repair. Nice, smooth little transition there. Dunleavy.
Very nice.
Repair.
Troy Talman's car is not looking good. That car is crab walking right now in the corners. He's going to need a reset. That is not raceable at all. Tim Jordan was also involved in that crash, another one of the faster cars in the race. And Sal Acardi also got a piece of that. So several cars involved in that wreck. That's Matt Vassar going by on the outside passenger screen. He gets the free pass. There are free passes in this race. So if you're the first car lap down, you'll get the wave around and get back to the back of the pack on the lead lap, or at least get one lap back if you're multiple laps down. But just when the field was singled down, looking like they were settling in, it looked like Christopher just couldn't get back on the gas quick enough, and Talman couldn't react quick enough.
We saw Teddy Hodgdon fast in qualifying. He was the fastest car out there on 19.181. How about an 18.949 for fastest lap of the race? He's 2 entire tenths quicker in this race than he was in qualifying. There's a lot more rubber on the track. He's not too far behind the leader at all in terms of speed and talent. If he even is behind in either of those, that is for the viewers to describe. All 1,000 of you. Thank you again for you all tuning in and talking to us. But man, oh man, Teddy Hodgdon is quick. He's got the lap times. But remember, the faster you are, the more you're leaning on those tires, and the harder you lean on them, the more you wear them down. Teddy Hodgdon is going through his tires faster than anyone else. Can he be quickest at the end? We've still got over 70 laps to figure that out.
Got to give a call out to a couple drivers who avoided most of the disaster. You got Matt Swanson in 4th spot. He's avoided a lot of the mess. And right behind him, Jacob Perry, he got knocked up the track earlier, but he's done a fine job keeping his car clean. So far, that's the key, just avoiding the disasters. Don't use your resets as they double up. Now, Narducci had a good restart last time. Hodgdon tried to lean ahead there and try to get a head start, but Narducci did not let that happen. He just kept holding it, and when Hodgdon had to hold back himself, Narducci stepped on it. Let's see what they do here.
Narducci has to be the first one across the line, otherwise Hodgdon will get penalized for it. Bumping and beating and banging bumpers all the way down through the backstretch. If that's not enough B's for you, how about Bryan Narducci at the front? Running third, they are side by side. Andrew Molleur tries to pull away. Teddy Hodgdon, how aggressive will he be? We are in view, in car with Teddy Hodgdon. Look at how aggressive he's driving it. Everyone is on the same setup here. It's fixed setup. Look at the speed comparison. They are neck and neck, tit for tat, those two, and it's just a car length between them.
I've been told by some of these drivers, you do sniff a draft on the straightaways here. Even though it's a half-mile track, you do get a draft. Look out! Reen gets into Molleur!
Goes around off of Glen Reen.
And we have a pile-up in the middle of the pack. Peter Bennett's involved. Looks like Travis Hydar got a piece. George Bessette Jr. was in it. Marc Burke had a piece as well. I mean, that took out about 9 or 10 cars. They just all stacked up. Glen Reen dove it in there. Look at the replay. Made it 3 wide and took out Molleur. And they just all piled in. Acardi got a piece of that. That's Bennett on his side. David Arute was in that. Oh, boy. We're going to run out of resets quick for some of these guys, Jeff.
Absolutely. It is crazy out here. Glen Reen's engine is going out on him. It hasn't blown yet, but it doesn't have much time until it does. You see the smoke coming out the back there, but a massive, massive pile up there. Damages a lot of drivers. Tyler Leary is a little bit towards the back. Listen in to Glen Reen's car and hear that engine, how it's kicking. That's not him working the throttle. That's the engine giving out.
I give a call out to Leary. He did a good job of avoiding that wreck. He just kind of slowed down, let them all pile up in front, and he got through just fine. So good job for Tyler Leary in the back of the pack to not take any risk and just stop the car as quickly as possible. But another yellow. We're on lap 35. We have a lot of cars on pit road right now, and I mean, a lot of them need repair. There's a lot of action that's been going on right now. Once again, Narducci in one piece, running in the first spot. Teddy Hodgdon running in the second spot. Tyler Leary gets the free pass. So he just got past the pace car as you're looking at the iRacing.com pace car right now. Running in third, Matt Swanson. Jacob Perry in fourth. Troy Talman is in fifth. And running in the sixth spot, trying to look here, is Izzo. Sturk is a lap down.
George Bessette Jr. is coming out of the pits right now. He came in, got his car checked over, and is taking it back out on track. He's having a good night so far, running well. Ryan Fern goes around the outside of him as they're getting ready to get lined back up. But George Bessette Jr., don't sleep on him. He had a good run in just his one race that he did last year in that brand new SK Light, and he's certainly looking for a good season. It's going to be a good season so far for him. The team puts in so much work, really, and it's amazing. And we did an episode with them. There was on the social media, right? How was getting into his car, I must ask?
You have to bring that up, don't you? Let's just say George Bessette is, relatively smaller guy. I'm over 6 feet. It took me 15 minutes to get in his SK Light, and it took me 20 minutes to get out. And they recorded it. They were laughing at me. They were enjoying it. George Bessette Jr.'s father, George Bessette Sr., is like, we're not getting the jaws of life out for you, buddy. If you're stuck, you're stuck. So I had to do a lot of yoga to get out of that car. And when that video was posted, when I posted it, Matt Vassar actually replied to me and said, you're doing it wrong, because he's 6'5" and he can fit in this car. And I was just like, that's why I'm a broadcaster, not a racer.
You're absolutely right. Those cars are not easy to get into and out of. You just gotta you gotta just hope.
And here's the thing.
You have to get out.
Here's the thing. It gives a new perspective of respect, I should say, because I never realized how crowded it is in those cars and how quick these drivers have to react in those. They're basically cocoons. And if they have to get out of the car, the fact that they can get out of the car as fast as they do, it's very impressive. I just never thought about it from that perspective. But hey, green flag's coming out here on lap 38.
Oh, Ryan Fern is going around. He's a lap car. Don't worry, he's a lap car. Bryan Narducci takes the jump here, and he will get out ahead. of Teddy Hodgdon. They are battling side by side for third. The 21 is the odd man out on the outside there. He's going to fall back. The top 3, the top 4 line up. Troy Tallman, though, isn't happy with it. He takes it to the apron. The 04, Dylan Izzo, started second. He follows to the inside of the 21. Jacob Perry, he's not... Boy, nobody's really showing him any love out there. He's stuck on the high side, which is not where you want to be at Stafford Motor Speedway.
But you got to give credit to Jacob Perry because Troy Tallman drove it in deep to turn 3. That's what you call the bottom shot move at Stafford. And Perry gave him room because he knows it's only lap 40. No need to be aggressive. So he gave Tallman the space because later in the race, if he tries to cut Tallman off, that's going to be a pileup. But Perry does eventually get in line, though, right behind.
The 04, Dylan Izzo, is the last one in the top 5. We're seeing these guys start to run green flag laps. Glen Reen, the 22, having some issues. He's getting all sorted out. Glen Reen.
Tyler Leary just went through the infield grass in turn 3. He's good, though. He went in the infield grass, keeps it going, though. He straightened it out. That doesn't bring a yellow out, but he was doing a little bit of, as I think Matt Butler would call it, agricultural racing.
George Bessette goes to the inside, and he makes a nice clean pass.
Oh, for the lead! Hodgdon just got cut off by Bryan Narducci in turn 1. Almost made some contact, but Hodgdon was able to back off. Narducci shut the door on Teddy. Teddy's not giving up, though. Narducci's not pulling away. They're still nose to tail, but that was very close in turn 1 between Hodgdon and Narducci.
Saving tires? Who's that? Why should I care? Man, these guys are out there racing with everything they've got. They are racing. Did anyone tell them that it's not a 40-lap event? It's a hump. We are on the 21 car of Perry. He is wheeling this thing, and he's cruising around right now in 6th place. Doesn't need to do anything crazy. Take a look at that car inside, though. You see the tachometer on the bottom in the middle. When that gets red, that means they're getting close to the rev limiter. They are pushing that car as hard as it can go. There's a caution on track.
Yeah, there's an incident in the back of the pack, it looked like. Looked like everyone got straightened out pretty quick, though. Couldn't tell what happened, but they were having a good battle for the lead between the top 6. Was it Puleo?
It could have been. That's what it's looking like to me.
That was some good action, though, in that top 5 as we get a look at the replay here. The caution coming out. They got some laps in, though, which was good. They had a good run going. As you're looking from Jonathan Puleo's perspective, that's Tyler Leary right behind him. And it looks like, is that Chase Dowling? I think that's Chase Dowling, the 22 car. So Chase Dowling was slow on the back straightaway. We'll see what happened to Chase. He's had a couple issues so far in this. He's inside of Peter Bennett in the 50 car. He dives it in deep into the corner, slides up a little bit, but keeps on the white line. Oh, he looks like he got hit. I can't tell if he got hit, but that car just came around on him quick.
That car goes around, goes for a nice spin. Oh, he had
Bennett got him.
Help. He had some help with that. Oh, my goodness.
Peter Bennett in the 50 got Chase Dowling. I don't know if Peter was trying to do a crossover move that went wrong, but got right into the rear bumper of that 22 car. But Chase did a quick little 360. There's the contact. I can't tell if Peter was trying to cross underneath Chase Dowling and there wasn't much room, but nonetheless, not much harm, not much foul. Well, there might be some angry drivers after that, but Chase Dowling's car is relatively okay, looks like.
Coming down pit road is Peter Bennett. Looks like he used his fast repair because that front end is perfectly clean now. So whether that was intentional or not, we're not sure, but the left side goes up. I think he might have come down, used his fast repair, taken his 2 right side tires, and is now coming down for 2 lefts just to be safe and not go a lap down because, as we know, Stafford is a half-mile long. That's it. It is easy to go a lap down here if your pit stop goes a little bit awry.
Looking at the racing before that caution, though, I mean, the top 5, Narducci, Hodgdon, Swanson, Tallman, Izzo, as Puleo makes his way around the pace car and makes up a lap. Those guys, man, they are putting on a show. And Swanson, 8 positions gained. Glen Reen, involved in multiple accidents. He's up to 8th. He's done a good job.
Spots from where he started. That's a pretty good thing. We're not seeing a lot of guys up here towards the front. Devin O'Connell is down 11 spots. Peter Bennett is up 11 spots. But as we get this all sorted out, we get closer and closer to grade. Mike Christopher Jr., I'll tell you what, he is a fast driver and he's consistent. He's methodical. If you want surgical precision, look no further than his car. He is just perfect. And when he gets into a rhythm, it's hard to stop him. His best lap was an 18.997. Awful, awful quick. Only 100 of a second off of our leader, Teddy Hodgdon's fastest lap.
We're going to be 1 lap away from halfway when they take the green. Hodgdon again trying to get a half a car length ahead of Narducci to get a head start. Narducci waits though, and they check up a little bit behind them, but so far so good. Dead even at the stripe. Narducci's going to drive in deep in the 1. He will slide up and clear Hodgdon for second spot. The battle for third between Swanson and Talman. Dylan Izzo right behind them. They're 2 by 2. Oh, Hodgdon drives in deep. He clips the grass. Narducci slides up the track. Hodgdon is there to the inside of Narducci as they cross the line to take halfway.
Narducci saw Hodgdon on the inside and thought, what's this madman doing? He's hitting him. That's what he's doing. They were 3 wide for the lead for a second. Here comes the 3 car out of nowhere. Matt Swanson is 2. Hodgdon's inside. Narducci looks upset. He drove that car in very deep. I'm wondering if we're going to see some sort of retaliation here. That is a very upset driver because he got slammed by the 55.
Yeah, but how about Swanson? But how about Hodgdon? He's holding on the outside line. We haven't really talked about a second group, but Hodgdon did a great job holding on Swanson on the outside. Oh, Talman is sideways, and he's upside down. I think he got hit again. They're in turn 4. A huge accident for Talman. Looked like he overcorrected the car and went head on to the wall. And that'll bring out another caution. Man, that was some intense racing. What happened here? He was next to Glen Reen and Mikey Jr. Oh, he just went around. Oh my goodness.
For those who are newer to iRacing and wondering what that was, that is something called netcode. These cars are so close and so compact to each other. Sometimes the server just thinks, oh, he's a little bit further to the right than he actually is. For what it is, iRacing is extremely precise. It's amazing how close you can run these cars without any major issues, but sometimes it just happens. A bit of netcode there puts him up into the wall.
Doug Messervy, I mean, he had nowhere to go. And it's no one's fault. It's just, it happens, and oh my gosh, what a view. He had Talman on top of him. Chase Dowling also got a piece, and Timmy Solomito got a big piece of Talman. His engine blew, actually. He had a lot of smoke trailing from that car, so he's got to come into the pits and take care of that. But Narducci and Hodgdon, they were racing hard, Jeff. That was quite some action.
You are absolutely right. That was some amazing action. We saw Hodgdon and Narducci side by side, beating Nerf bars, beating, you know, I almost said beating fenders, and that could not be any further from the truth. There are no fenders on these things. Beating Nerf bars, beating each other's sides. Man, oh man, that was some very hard racing. No disrespect at all to that 55 of Teddy Hodgdon. Did some fantastic driving. He was driving with everything he had in that car and just got a little bit tight after catching the apron. Those tires might be starting to wear out a bit. Could be not responding the way he's expecting. We are 55 laps in, and they are on the tires they started with.
Yeah, Andrew Molleur's in the pits actually right now. Only guy in the top 10 that is in pit road right now, but he is in the pits, I'm assuming, to take some tires. I don't think he had anything to do with that last wreck. But give a call to Matt Swanson, man. Started back in the 11th, gained 9 spots. He runs in second. Glen Reen has moved up to the 7th position after all the mess that he's gone through. Dylan Izzo was involved in an accident when he was running in the top 3 not that long ago. Now he's up to 3rd. Mike Jr. was involved in a big accident. He's in 5th. So these guys, even though they are wrecking, that's the beauty of the resets. They get another chance, Jeff.
You are absolutely right. We are making the most of this quarantine right now. We are 56 laps in, bringing you the best of Stafford's drivers that qualified for this event. 60 entered, 30 made it in. They raced their way in. If you missed some of that heat racing, the Conti racing, Conti number 1 was absolutely wild. You can go back and you can watch this replay once it is over. You can go back and watch this live stream over and over and over again. And if you throw a couple bucks our way, me and Bonzo will record bedtime stories to read to your kids. How about that?
I'm sorry, what? I don't know about that.
The pace car goes in. Teddy Hodgdon with an amazing jump Dylan Izzo gets to the inside of Swanson. They are side by side for second, but that's not what Teddy Hodgdon cares about. He cares about the miles of open track in front of him. He just needs to cruise and hope everyone behind him stays clean as Dylan Izzo and Swanson are side by side going into 3. They are 2 wide, 3 deep.
That was a really good restart from Hodgdon. That's the restart I'm talking about, gaining that jump and gaining that big lead. And when it comes to a late rate restart, that's going to be critical. Oh, a lot of contact there. Looked like Reen got into the back of Christopher. We got trouble mid-pack. I believe that is Meservy. Is that Meservy that went around 2, or is that Bessette Jr.? They crashed off of turn 2, and that brings the caution out. It was an orange and black car. It looks like it's Meservy. That was yes. Meservy in turn 2. I believe Glen Reen made contact with somebody. Oh, Meservy got drilled after. Tyler Leary was able to stop again. Leary's done a good job stopping that car before getting into another wreck. Going to turn 1, Reen got into the back of Christopher, but looks like that not much to do with the actual wreck. Meservy actually blinked a little bit, and all of a sudden he was just around.
He had some connection issues as we go back to live. Bryan Narducci, it looked like he was going to pit road and said, nah, I don't really feel like it. He decides to stay out as we now have a new top crew of cars. We still have Hodgdon out front. Dylan Izzo is now up to second. Matt Swanson in third. Mike Christopher Jr. started in fourth, sits in fourth. Bryan Narducci is now in fifth. Glen Reen up from 21st all the way to 6th. He was the last person to race their way in, the 21st starter. He is all the way up to 6th right now. 29th to 12th for Peter Bennett. George Bessette Jr. from 18th all the way up to 11th. There's a lot of heavy hitters. Justin Bren, 20th all the way up to 10th, plus 10 positions. We are getting ready to go back green here soon for these guys. We've seen a lot of hard, aggressive racing, and when these guys are green, they have to make sure to take care of their tires. Under 40 laps left in this event.
And the intensity is only going to pick up as the laps go on. Like, you think it's crazy now. Now we're getting to that point where cars are going to run out of resets, and that might dwindle the field down, especially with this unpredictable nature of the racing we're seeing right now, where these guys are going really hard on the track. You might have to be a little more careful as the race goes on because you don't have that cushion, that margin of error of the resets. So you got to be careful. Running out of laps. There's only 38 laps to go. If you're Narducci, yeah, he was being very aggressive on Hodgdon. It looked like he didn't appreciate getting bumped there. He almost got to the back bumper of Teddy. He's the only one I've seen so far that can compete against Teddy, though. It's been basically Teddy and Bryan. Izzo's been up there. Swanson's been up there. Christopher's been up there. But none of them have been able to actually get past Teddy Hodgdon. And that's where you got to wonder. Is it Teddy and Bryan versus the rest of the field? Or will somebody come in? Who knows? Glen Reen has just been gaining position after position. He might come in there.
I don't know if we have a graphic for the most laps led, but I can guarantee you if we do, it's going to be wrong. At the top, we have the pace car leading the most laps tonight. Teddy Hodgdon is right up there as well, Bryan Narducci. And like you said, those guys are racing so well. They are right on par with each other. Everyone has the same setup, but those two are just absolutely cruising around the track. You see cars going around on the outside, getting their laps back. Swanson is in the best position besides Hodgdon. You want to start on the inside here at Stafford. There's not many people that can roll the outside, I say, with Bryan Narducci right behind. The pace car comes off, though, and we get ready to go back green. Hodgdon controls the restart as the leader.
And he gets the jump. Doesn't get the biggest jump, but he tries to clear Izzo, though.
Izzo doesn't put the chrome horn to him, but Bryan Narducci goes 3 wide on turn exit with Swanson in the middle. He's the meat in the sandwich. And on the outside, Mike Christopher Jr. Narducci, all 4 tires on the apron. Little bit of contact, doesn't really matter. Dylan Izzo looking to the inside, could have the run. Is Hodgdon feeling generous? Of course not. He wants that lead, and he's going to hold on to it, diving in hard into turn 1.
Wow, they were 3 wide and they made it. Good job by those guys. We didn't know how that was going to end up because usually if you go into turn 3 wide, the next thing you hear is caution's out. But nonetheless, looking at the front, battle for the lead is tightening up. We got a yellow, though. We got a crash going on further back, it looks like.
Speaking of cautions out, here we go.
Ryan Fern in turn 3 is sitting across the racetrack. looking at the replay here, Ryan Fern, Meservey, I believe that's how you pronounce it, Meservey. I know we've been getting that a little bit incorrect.
Yep.
So Doug Meservey, he was in the grass in the infield. Ryan Fern tries to come in front. That was a little bit of neck code, it looked like.
Ooh, that was some
It caught
big
Burke
contact.
a little bit. And I believe David Arute also got a piece of that. But it's tough when you... They're racing hard in the front, but they're also racing hard in the back. Trying to see what happened to Meservey, though, off of 2 that made him go down in the infield. But yeah, he and Ryan got together, collected Burke, and it looks like David Arute got a piece of that as well. So the caution comes out again. There's 32 laps to go in this one. These cautions, I think, are helping out Teddy because he's able to get out with the lead usually. So I just wonder if these leaders are going to pit. Will they pit? Is it worth pitting, Jeff, at this point in the race, though?
I think at this point, you've made your bed, now lay in it. We are 69 laps into this race. Teddy Hodgdon remains your leader. As long as he keeps taking care of those tires and gets those green flag runs in and takes care of them on those green flag runs, he could be okay on that one set of tires. We talked about that at the beginning. They have enough fuel, and now taking care of your tires here, we're seeing some wrecks. There's no doubt about that, but as long as they are smart here, these guys could run green to the end, and we will see how tires affect these guys.
Right now, we got 20 cars on the lead lap as of now. The first car a lap down is shown to be Tyler Leary. David Arute is 3 laps down. Ryan Fern is 4 down. Robert Sturck is 6 down. Jon Puleo is 12 laps down. Max Zackum 20. Sal Acardi 33 laps down. Daltin McCarthy is 42 laps down. Keith Rocco is down 66 laps. Looking at the leaderboard, Teddy Hodgdon is the leader. Dylan Izzo runs in the 2nd spot. Matt Swanson 3rd. Bryan Narducci in 4th. Mike Christopher Jr. 5th. Glen Reen 6th. Jacob Perry 7th. Chase Dowling in 8th. He's had an eventful day. You got Tim Jordan in 9th. George Bessette Jr. is hanging in there in the top 10. Devin O'Connell 11th despite his internet issues. Justin Brennan. Peter Bennett 13th. Matt Vassars in 14th. Travis Hydar 15th. Troy Talman 16th, Andrew Molleur 17th, Marc Burke in 18th, Timmy Solomito after blowing an engine earlier, he runs in 19th, probably used the reset, and Doug Meservey. Let us know if we got that right. Meservey, is that how you pronounce it correctly? He's in 20th.
The chat, all 1,000 people have gotten on to us and said it's Meservey. Now we have it right. 1,000 people tuning in on this race. They are not missing a bad race at all. I bet they're not even missing the racetrack all that much because right now this is a pretty good substitute. I've been missing the Friday nights at Stafford, but this is certainly holding me over. The pace car is about to duck in. These guys are going to get close and comfortable. Narducci is 2nd on the outside line. Dylan Izzo leads the outside line with Hodgdon controlling the restart. Gets a good jump, dives it hard to the inside. Swanson follows. Swanson is side by side with Izzo. Maybe not. Swanson gets the good run in. Izzo has to give it to him. They are battling side by side for 2nd. What Hodgdon wants to see is a side by side battle. The longer they're battling, the more they're wearing down their tires for one thing, and the slower they are. If you're side by side with another car, you're slowing down, and Hodgdon is now able to pull away by about 5 car lengths over the 04.
Laps are winding down quickly. There's only 26 to go. Right now, the leader is Hodgdon. He is pulling away a little bit, but Izzo's not giving up. He's still a couple car lengths behind the 2nd spot. The battle's for 3rd, though. Mike Christopher Jr. and Bryan Narducci going off against Matt Swanson. Narducci on the outside. He's trying to make it work again. Can't quite get to that right rear tire. Oh, he gives Swanson a shove into turn 1 and gets underneath that 3 car. But the caution comes out right before that. Another accident that probably happened in the back of the pack. But man, Narducci gave Swanson a shot. That's Meservey in the front stretch. He looked like I spun out right at the start-finish line. He gets it back going again, though. It's getting more aggressive. Narducci got into the back of Swanson pretty good. I don't know if it's because the caution came out and Swanson checked up, but that could have been ugly.
I think that was Narducci showing a little bit of displeasure. He's certainly been getting a lot of grief from a lot of drivers here this race. Nobody's cutting anybody any breaks. Narducci is confident enough to show it to everyone, though. Tyler Leary around the outside is going to get a lap back. David Arute around the outside is going to get a lap back. There will now be, at the end of this, 21 cars on the lead lap. Tyler Leary is the last one on the lead lap. David Arute is 3 laps down. So of the 29 that started this race, 21 are still on the lead lap. Pretty much all of them are running, though. Max Zachem is running 20 laps down, and he appears to be the last one on track in 26th place.
Trying to see if we can find out what happened to Doug Meserve as he spun down the front straightaway, but nonetheless, it does bring the yellow out. It does bunch the field up again. It gives Izzo another chance, but you got to watch out for Narducci and Christopher. They have tried taking it 3 wide a couple of times. Let's see if we got a replay here about what happened to Meserve. He's side by side. That's Marc Burke in the 77 car. They're door to door. He blinked. It looked like he blinked, and that might have caused him and Burke to get together, and Meserve ended up spinning out. So that brings out the caution again. Meserve's had a topsy-turvy day. Not the smoothest of nights for that 67 car, but nonetheless, there's only 23 laps to go. Teddy Hodgdon doing a fine job of holding that lead, but those guys behind him are trying harder and harder, making more bold moves, and right behind Christopher, you got Glen Reen still there, and we saw him make a 3-wide move early in the race that didn't end as planned. And I'm pretty sure he said with Sean Kirshane that he was going to be more tame this season. I wonder if that applies to iRacing too.
While there was a timing and scoring issue, it might show Tyler O'Leary as your leader. It does. He was waved around one too many times, unfortunately, so getting everything sorted out. No worries at all. He will be back and in his rightful position. Do not worry. So Teddy Hodgdon is still your leader. I think a lot of people that are going to be happy are the guys over at Lincoln Technical Institute, because they're students. They have a welding program over there, welding to HVAC, everything in between. They have campuses all throughout New England. So those students over there, if they're learning welding, they're going to have a lot of work this week to get everyone back ready for next Friday night. This is absolutely mayhem. Looking over to chat, there is not an incident limit. There is no spin limit or anything like that. So these guys can go out there, they can continue running. The pace car, though, is getting ready to pull down pit road. He's been getting a workout tonight, though. We're going to have to put some gas in that thing at the end of this race.
The flagman's been getting a workout. He's the one that's got the sore right arm.
I know. He's going to be like Mike Christopher Jr. after his power steering went out a couple weeks in a row. He was absolutely muscle man back there. Teddy Hodgdon with an early jump this time. Allows Swanson to get to the inside of Dylan Izzo, and Narducci's going to try and follow. Makes that car fit, but just barely. Swanson washes up into Izzo. Good move there to hold on to it, though. Narducci takes advantage, is on the inside, and is going to have... Swanson goes around.
He tried to save it, but he gets into Christopher, and they pile up behind. Swanson is involved. Christopher involved. There's about 4 or 5 cars in a jam session off of turn 4. Almost saved it, but got hit again and caused him to get turned right towards the wall head on. Justin Bren got a piece of that as well. Tauman was involved. A couple of your top drivers have to start in the back now because of that crash.
You're absolutely right. Mike Christopher Jr. was almost clear of it, and Matt Swanson got into him. Take a look at the replay here, though. Swanson dives it in, gets a little bit loose even, and just cuts it down on Christopher Jr., who had nowhere to go. Christopher Jr. gets spun around, locks it down, though, does a good job of that. Other drivers pile in. The Slim Reaper, number 11, Matt Baxter, gets through it, though. We're on board here with Christopher.
Yeah, it looked like Swanson just came down in front of Christopher. It was really close. Look at Jake Perry in that white car. Look at him save on that front straightaway at the start-finish line. He did a fine job of saving that car because he almost got drilled on the right side, but luckily he hung on to it. He's done a great job this whole race. You got to give him credit for what he's done. Here's the onboard. It starts right in front of him. He gets into the back. A little bit of Christopher gets turned sideways, and look at him hang on to that base. It's very impressive. Good piece of wheel work there from Jacob Perry. He keeps it going, and he's really kept that car in one piece for most of this race. He's a guy that, he's not a normal competitor at Stafford. He raced in the late model last season in the fall final with Tom Fern's backup car, and he did a good job. So seeing him out here in these Escape Modifieds, he has been in the top 10 for most of this race. He's been quietly in the top 10. You just wonder if anything happens in front of him, does he have a chance to pull off a podium finish? Now here's the thing, Jeff. No green-white checkers. So a late caution, this race can finish under yellow.
It absolutely can, and that's what these drivers have been warned about. Race control has stepped in and said, there are no green-white checkers. Let's not end this thing under caution. So they want to keep this green until the end. But side by side at the front, Teddy Hodgdon and Bryan Narducci. And
Oh
Narducci,
boy.
he's not in a good mood because he's been beaten around by just about everyone out there. So be sure to keep an eye on him. It's no holds barred. And Todd Owen, as a car owner, I'm sure is in his ear saying, go out there and win the darn thing. We'll see what he has to say at the end.
Tell you what, Narducci is the one guy that we can see not only hold the zone on the outside, but pass people on the outside. So even though Teddy's probably going to take this inside lane, Narducci can still hold his own. And how about this? These two are going to be SK Modified rookies in 2020. So these are two people who had a lot of success in the SK Lights. Obviously, Teddy Hodgdon won the SK Light Championship last season. Narducci has won many races in the SK Light division. Now here they are, not only moving up together to the SK Modifieds, they're racing together here. The top two in the class of the field, I think it's fair to say, throughout this entire race. Will this end peacefully, though? We don't know. But there's 13 laps to go when they come back to the line.
Just a few laps to go. Everyone wants to win this. The lights on the pace car go off. That's the signal to these drivers to go side by side. Get ready to go 1 to green. We've seen some aggressive driving out there, but it all works out. Case in point, Glen Reen, sitting in third place, the man that hates losing more than he likes winning, and he loves to win. Let's watch his in-car view on this restart here as he starts behind Teddy Hodgdon in the 55. Hodgdon with a good jump, Reen with a good jump. Narducci better than Reen, drives it down to the inside. Reen is side by side with the 04. Let's see what he can do down the backstretch here, though. All these guys, top three, Hodgdon pulls away by about a $2 Uber ride over second. Third place is side by side battling. Reen with the advantage off the turn.
Sideways off of
Izzo.
So now we got 11 laps to go, pardon me. 11 laps to go. The big battle is for third spot right now. You got Izzo looking inside of Glen Reen. Behind them, they're 2x2 for rows back, but the caution comes out again. This might have happened in the back. It might have been Ryan Fern. It could have been Puleo. Like, that was the group that might have been involved in something. You also got Marc Burke. Marc Burke was in the grass. Marc Burke was in the backstretch grass. So let's see what happened to Burke, because it looked like he was the one that spun out in the back straightaway. That's going to bring out the yellow. And there's only 10 laps to go, so we only may have 1 or 2 more restarts if we get quick cautions. As we look at the replay right now, Teddy Hodgdon did a fine job on that restart, pulling away from Narducci. And so we'll see what happened here to Marc Burke when we get the chance. He spun out in turn 2. We're going to take a look again. He is side by side right now with the 52. That's Sturck. Oh, it happened in front of him. A couple cars got together in front. I believe that's Bren, the 66. Is that him that spun around? And Burke, Ryan Fern just missed Burke. Just missed him by an inch or so.
We have an update from race control after this replay. The 66, Troy Talman just got into each other there. Goes around, a great job by Ryan Fern to avoid it. And the 66 keeps it rolling. But we have an update from race control. Updates from, excuse me, restarts from here are going to be single file. So now no double file restart. This single file restart will allow these drivers to hopefully end this race under green. 8 laps to go right now, looking to be about 5 or 6 to go once they take the green flag. Single file. That's a huge advantage to Teddy Hodgdon, though. He's been getting these jumps, so Narducci is going to have to be right on his back bumper, planted there, and just make sure he keeps up.
And poor Troy Talman. He's been running the front for most of that race. Ever since he got involved in the wreck and sent to the back, he has not been able to recover. And you just wonder, he's running out of time. Does he even have a shot anymore? As we look at the leaderboard, it's Teddy Hodgdon first, Bryan Narducci second, Glen Reen runs in third, Dylan Izzo fourth, Chase Dowling fifth. You got Tim Jordan in the top 10. Still a very fast car. Jacob Perry quietly in 7th. George Bessette Jr. quietly in 8th. He's done a fine job. Matt Vatch has been caught in a lot of the chaos. He's in 9th spot. And Peter Bennett rounds out the top 10. He's also been involved in a couple ruckuses.
Travis Hydar is up 15 spots. Peter Bennett has gained 19 spots in this race. But take a look at Glen Reen in third. 21st all the way to third. Absolutely incredible run. He's gotten into a couple wrecks, a couple, different situations throughout the race. As Glen Reen does, he's known as a very aggressive driver. That's why he's got Reen Acres over in turn 1 all to himself. He's not afraid to use that grass to make passes if he needs to. But single file restart coming up here soon. And that is going to change everything here. We'll see who has the advantage going into turn 1. Pace car is going to take that long drive down pit road. Narducci pushing on Teddy Hodgdon. Pushing on him. Glen Reen gets to the inside. Narducci and Narducci comes down into him.
They keep it green, though, looks like.
There is no caution. The race is going to continue green. Glen Reen is now in second.
Yeah, but the question is, can he catch up to Teddy Hodgdon? Narducci got all stacked up there in the restart. He did a quick 360 and kept going, though, but Hodgdon's just 4 laps away from winning the inaugural NAPA iRacing 100. The battles for second, though, is Glen Reen versus Dylan.
Glen Reen needs a magnifying glass out there to try and find Teddy Hodgdon. That car is so small in his windshield. Dylan Izzo.
Oh, turn 4! Big pile up behind the top 3. Faster's involved. They all pile in. Missouri. Jacob Perry finally gets involved in one. He couldn't stop. He couldn't make it through. So Teddy Hodgdon will come to the caution flag. There's going to be 2 laps to go. And Jeff, I think that's going to be it.
I think you might be right here. There are no green-white checkers for this race. Chase Dowling goes up a little bit into that 47 car. Timmy Solomito sends him into the 21, catches him. The Slim Reaper gets caught himself in a big wreck. A lot of cars torn up there at the end. But coming to take the checkered flag, as long as nothing crazy happens, is going to be Teddy Hodgdon, followed by Glen Reen, followed by Dylan Izzo.
Gotta give a lot of credit to Teddy Hodgdon, though, as they crossed the stripe. He ran a fantastic race. I mean, he did what he had to do to stay up front for the entirety of that event. He takes the white flag and the caution lap. He's just a couple turns away from victory. You gotta give credit to Glen Reen. He was involved in the chaos. He avoided the chaos and made his way back up to second. And for Bryan Narducci, man, tried to stay on the back bumper of Hodgdon. Hodgdon got the jump. Narducci got bumped from behind. You got to give him credit, though. That 360 and go, it helped him keep going. It didn't bring the caution out, but later it did come out. And coming off of 4, it's going to be Teddy Hodgdon winning the inaugural NAPA iRacing 100 at the virtual Stafford Motor Speedway. Glen Reen second, Dylan Izzo third, Chase Dowling in fourth, and George Bessette Jr. rounds out the top 5 as Hodgdon goes out and celebrates, drifting his car around the corner. He was one of the favorites, Jeff, and in the end, he came out on top.
He was fast as fast could be all week long. Bryan Narducci comes out 6th, Travis Hydar 7th, Doug Mesavy in 8th, Andrew Muller 9th, Troy Tomlin 10th. But we have a replay here with Glen Reen, with Matt Swanson.
The wreck that happened off of turn 4 involved Timmy Jordan, as Teddy Hodgdon's doing burnouts right now in the front straightaway. Missouri crosses the line in a ton of smoke as his engine is blown to pieces. But the wreck happened off of 4. It looked like Tim Jordan was involved in the start of that. I don't know who he made contact with, but he got shoved into the wall big time, and it caused that enormous pileup as Hodgdon continues to celebrate. They say a lot of people, Glen Reen, bumping into him there in the middle of the burnouts. But Teddy Hodgdon, one of the guys who raced on iRacing a lot, you knew he was a favorite. You knew he had the chance. Hey, look, he's parking in victory lane right now, just like how he did in real life last season 6 times. So Teddy Hodgdon, the winner, Glen Reen in second. They're doing the old podium style that we do at Stafford in real life, which is pretty cool.
All right, we are going to cut to a break as we get this all sorted out here and give you a full rundown of the results. But enjoy. This event would not be possible without our sponsors here at Stafford Motor Speedway, especially NAPA Auto Parts and iRacing for getting this put together. NAPA Auto Parts is the presenting sponsor for this event. They are your one-stop shop for all your auto parts needs. They are essential businesses and still open despite how crazy the times are right now. Your local NAPA will be open and they will be there. You can visit StaffordSpeedway.com for a list of all our local NAPA stores. We have the NAPA Spring Sizzler coming up May 30th and May 31st, the NAPA SK 5K on Friday, June 26th, and the NAPA Fall Final September 26th and 27th. We also have a deal going on over on our website, StaffordSpeedway.com, a $50 gift card for only $40 available tonight only, so make sure you go over, jump onto the website and see that. But let's talk to some of our drivers first. But actually, before that, we'll go to our results. Teddy Hodgdon in first place, Glen Reen in second by only half a second, Dylan Izzo in third, Chase Dowling fourth, George Bessette Jr. coming all the way up through the field, finishes fifth, Bryan Narducci in sixth, Travis Hydar in seventh, Doug Maservi in eighth, Andrew Molleur in ninth, and 10th.
Looking at the 11th spot, you got Tim Jordan after that last caution crash, Timmy Solomito in 12th, Justin Bren 13th, Marc Burke, excuse me. There is a Marc Burke, but that's not him.
Marc Burke is out here racing. 14th. Comes out of retirement.
You got David Arute in 15th. You got Matt Swanson 16th. Matt Bassler comes home 17th. He was involved in that last caution. Peter Bennett 18th. Huge disappointment for Mike Christopher Jr. He will come home 19th. Same with Jacob Perry, who ran a great race. He finishes 20th.
Driver of the number 12 late model, Ryan Byrne, comes home 21st. 22nd was Robert Sturck. 23rd, driver of the 1X modified and late model, Kicks 100.9 sponsors him. Tyler Leary, Jon Puleo in 24th. Devin O'Connell, 25th. Max Zackham, 26th. Sal Acardi, 27th. Devin McCarthy, 28th. And rounding out the field in 29th with Keith Rocco. 30th was Mikey Flynn, who unfortunately could not get here. As we mentioned earlier, the flux capacitor blew due to bad gearing. But up here in the box, we have some of our front runners. We have Teddy Hodgdon.
Hey, Teddy,
Jeff,
you got a copy?
Yes, I do. How are you guys?
Can't complain, man. It was a lot of fun. Hope it was fun for you. Congratulations. You have won the inaugural NAPA iRacing 100. Several people said you were the favorite, but when I talked to you a couple days ago, I said you were fast, and you were like, I hope so. What was that doubt? Why were you thinking, like, I think I'm a favorite, but you weren't 100% sure?
Well, really didn't know what was going to go coming down to this race, you know, the weather conditions, how people were going to run. I didn't even know half these guys had iRacing, period. So trying to run with a bunch of guys that I've never raced against before on the digital side of things is definitely different than racing them in real life. So just trying to gauge who was fast, who was not, who was really going to be in front. And we just took it step by step from there.
You were battling hard with Bryan Narducci. You two were going at it. What was that battle like for you? Because there was some physicality involved in that as well.
Yeah, so we started side by side for most of the race there, and he got a little jingled up there in 4, and he started got into the second row there about halfway through, and we were just kept in the lead. And then he worked his way back up to second. We were able to nail that last restart. So it was kind of driver's decision there to go single file there. Everyone's complaining that double file restarts were the cause of these cautions, so they threw it single file, and I just had to time that restart perfectly. So yeah, it was just a really good race overall, even though we kind of faded back a little bit. I know, like in the top 5, it's like, oh, you're still in the front, but worked our way back up to the front and won the dang thing.
What was the restarts like? Because there were some restarts where you would get a huge jump going right away after the pace car pulls up, but there were some restarts where you held it. Were you just trying to play games there with the other drivers? What was your strategy behind the restarts? Because there were a lot of them.
Yeah, you know, you just gotta throw a little wrench in there sometimes. You just gotta go at certain points. You can't give them the same thing every time because then they're gonna jump it too. You know, it's just everyone's got to play mind games with each other, and I feel like I pulled that off pretty successful today.
In the end, SK Light champion, going to SK Mods, the winner of the inaugural NAPA iRacing 100. How does it feel to have this event and to lead so many laps this race and to win at the end?
Well, first of all, I think it's a great idea, and thanks to Stafford first of all, for putting this thing on. This is it's not easy to put these kind of events on, to have 55 people from the same track come in and do a virtual service in a time like this. So I just got to thank to them and NAPA for coming on board for sponsoring this thing. It's super cool to run with these guys. I mean, most of the guys I don't see until we come back in April, or whenever we're going to see them now. To race with these guys. So it's cool that we have a place that we can go and we can, keep our skills sharp and just run over the off season and have a good time.
Yeah, well, in the end, we all had a good time. Teddy, thanks for joining us. And again, congratulations on winning the inaugural NAPA iRacing 100.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys.
Up next in the booth. Up next in the booth, we have Dylan Izzo, who finished third in the event. Glen Reen is having. He made it through the race with computer issues, but he unfortunately is not here with us up in the booth. So we're going to go to Dylan Izzo in third place. You started in second. You finished third. You were consistent throughout the night. Give us a rundown of what it was like out there to try and just make the most out of these green flag laps that we had.
Yeah, it was a little frustrating with all the yellows, but I mean, I thought it was a great experience. In the beginning there, when I was on the outside of Teddy on one of those first restarts, he got up into my left front and I got spun around, and then I had to kind of make my way back through the field, and we were able to. And then just at the end there, when you're stuck on the outside on the restarts, third place dictates what's going to happen to you. He'll run you up in 1 and 2, and you just kind of have to try to protect. But, I right there at the end, I wish there was a double file restart, because that would have put me in third and had a shot at maybe a win. But overall, I thought it was a great experience. I thought it was really good for Stafford. And, I want to thank everybody that put this show on.
It certainly was a lot that went into putting the show on, that went on behind the scenes, and it seems like all the drivers had a great time doing it. So if we were to throw this out to you, would you come back again and do this all again?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I would definitely do it. I thought this was a lot of fun. It's a lot of testing went into this, and, like I said, it's fun. I like to see all the guys, like, Teddy said, I didn't know half these guys even had iRacing, let alone that they were this good. So, like I said, I would definitely come back and run it again.
I'm glad to hear it. Who do you have to thank for getting you here, your sponsors and everything else?
Well, not really for this race. This race was kind of on my own, but, on the real racing side, I just want to thank Doug DePies at Prestige Motorsports. I'm going to be running with him again this year. My car, with my family-owned car, we're going to run some of that. I want to thank Joe McLean Woodworking, Bob Horn Racing, and just anybody else that, will buy a tire once a week for us to run. And, hopefully this year, once we do get going, we're going to have a good year.
We are very glad to hear it. Congratulations on a third place finish here tonight. You ran a great race out.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, everyone, we had a fantastic night here. Bonds, any last second thoughts here on this broadcast? And
Man, it wasn't the prettiest of races, and I think everyone's going to agree with that. And clearly we had a hard time pronouncing Doug Meservy's name right. Apologize for that, but we got it right at the end, I think. But, these are really odd and tough times that we're living in right now, where we really can't go out. In the racing off-season, the short tracks are so long. I mean, normally we don't go racing between October and April. Now it's until May. So, somehow we got to fill that void. And we saw the success of the Pro Invitational race that's going on in the Cup circuit. And Paul has been wanting to do this for a while. It's not like he just wanted to do it impulsively now. He's been wanting to do sim racing for a couple of years now. And this is the perfect time to do it, because we need a sense of normalcy. We need to have some fun during these unusual times. So having this event, even though it wasn't the smoothest event, it was so much fun, and I'm glad I could be a part of it. Congrats to Teddy. He was one of the top cars throughout the whole week. People knew he was going to be tough to beat. Great racing while we had it. A lot of battles, a lot of changes, a lot of surprises through the contests, heat races, and the feature. In the end, thank you to all that tuned in. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Hope you enjoyed the action. It was a lot of fun. And, I enjoyed doing it with you and our partners, Sean Ambrose, Dougie Beard, and all of GSRC.
Well, the crew, absolutely a huge thank you to them. It was me, Jeff McConey, Bonza Tufa as well, over at Bonza_T on Twitter. I'm at Bottled Up Radio. Sean Ambrose was our director, and Dougie Beard worked the cameras. It was a fantastic night. I think we all are in agreement that it was a bit of rough racing out there. In the words of Matt Vassar, as he said to me after this race, thank you to everyone for doing this. And remember, every gem starts as an ugly stone. It's really, you can't have a comeback without a downfall. And I mean it.
Yeah.
Where, no one's going to sit here and say it was green the entire time and it was amazing. No wrecks or anything like that. But we all did a great job coming out of it. Next up on GSRC, you can go over to their YouTube channel. They're going to finish out the completion of the Bootleg Racing League Dirt Street Stocks at Eldora. A little more short track action. Take it over to the dirt side, though. It's the asphalt here at Stafford Motor Speedway. We want to see more of this. We know you want to see more of this. We are going to work our butts off to make sure that every single one of you feels happy and feels content and hopefully feels healthy as you sit and tune into these races. To everyone that tuned in, on behalf of Stafford Motor Speedway, all of the workers there, track workers, photographers, crew members on the broadcasting, everything else from the Arute family, thank you and have a good night.